Welcome to the GoTeez Sports Page, coming to you live from the Bluetick Tavern in Maryville at 92.5 FM and 1180 AM. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Bringing you the best in Blount County sports since 1978. Featuring the Greenfield Gunner, Mike Edwards, former Maryville Scott, Donnie Moore, and from the Daily Times, Marcus Fitzsimmons.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, and I'm here at the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville, along with Blount County Sports Hall of Famer Donnie Moore, longtime sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons, and Daily Times sports reporter Caleb Giroux. And this is the GoTeez Sports Page. It's mint juleps, fancy hats, and fast horses as the Kentucky Derby is set to go, and we're going to the whistle blows. And now let's set today's lineup card. Donnie Moore will report on the latest high school spring sports scores involving Blount County teams, and will follow up with some national sports stories. Marcus Fitzsimmons will be on board to update us on what's happening in local high school sports. Marcus will present his feature Mark It Down and the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segments. District tournament baseball and softball will be on the agenda. I'll report on how the basketball balls are doing in the transfer portal, update UT baseball and softball, and throw in some other sports news. The Let Her Rip segment is set to go, so let's break the huddle and dive right in. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning on this next to last show of the season.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you right now, time flies when you're having a good time.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This season has really gone by fast.
You got your summer Cancun plans already?
No. I'll be just journeying around Maryville for the most part. Yeah. Marcus, how are you this morning?
I'm fantastic.
Great.
Absolutely fantastic.
He's just brimming with information over here.
Yeah, well, you were a little low when I came in here this morning. I had to humor you a little bit to get
well,
you going.
that was before Donnie got me some of the great coffee we've got here at Bluetick that comes from across the street. And, a couple sips, and I'm a human being again.
Yeah, well, it's good
definitely.
Good to see everybody. And I've got the Let Her Rip segment ready to go. And, Donnie, I got horses on the mind here this morning. And I guess you got the news, along with everybody else, that all the horses have been scratched in today's Kentucky Derby. And the big reason for that is, we got a president that's putting his name on just about everything. Coins, buildings, money, I don't know. Everything that's out there, tearing down, building up. And so the Kentucky Derby is, I thought it was sacred and it wasn't going to be affected, but the name's been changed. It's now the Donald J. Trump Kentucky Derby. And the field that was set to go has all been scratched, and as of this morning we got a new field. So I've got the new field right here.
Right.
I'm going to go through them.
Let's hear it.
Oh, Lord.
I'm going to go through them, and then I want everybody we'll sit back, and I know you're a horse guy, Donnie, and and you're an expert on it. We'll go through some of these horses and see how you feel about some of them.
Are we going through 23 horses, Mike? Or
I've got 20 horses, and
okay.
I've got some alternates because you never know when you need, you need one. So I'm going to go by posts, and I'll set the odds. I'll go as slow as I possibly can so everybody out there can write these down so they'll have the field and be ready to go to cast their bets throughout the day. But post number 1 is Demolition Ballroom. He's 15-1. Post number 2 is Never Seen Anything Like It. It's 10-1. Post 3 is Blockade, 5-1. Post 4 is American Golf at 40-1. Number 5 is a horse that I like, but you just never you don't know where he's going to go on the track. Venezuelan Weed, 50-1. Post 6, Golden Statue, and that horse has been scratched. It was 15-1, and it's been scratched, and the horse taking its place now can't take a joke, 100-1. Post number 7 is We've Already Won, and it's 70-1. Post 8, Tariff Payback. It's a scratch, 7-1. And it's been replaced by Extreme Home Makeover at 70-1. In post number 9 is Gerrymander, 30-1. Post 10, Big Mac at 70-1. Post 11, Make a Deal. Post 12, has been scratched. Got 3 scratches. This is the 3rd one. Bombs Away was at 30-1, but it has been scratched for a filly. Where's Melania? And that horse is 100-1, and it's 100-1 because it probably won't show up, and they don't know where it's at, but they got it penciled in. Post number 13 is Explosive Mind at 20-1. Post 14 is 2 Week Notice. Post 15 is Nuclear Dust at 60-1. 2 Week Notice was 90-1, and Explosive Mind was 20-1. Post 16 is Cankle at 80-1. Post 17 is Marco Shoes at 20-1. Post 18 and post 19 come from the same stalls. Out of Gas is 80-1, and post 19 Out of Money is 80-1. Post 20 is Who Wants Oil at 70-1, and we got 4 alternates lined up. Set Them Free, Diaper Dandy, Rigged, and President's Trophy.
Wow.
All in the field. And Donnie Moore, I'll start with you. Pretty impressive field right there, don't you think?
Most definitely.
Running today.
That's a lot of good, I guess they're horses. It sounds like it anyway. I've got one additional one, too, that I want to add.
One I didn't have on.
That's the one that we didn't have. The name of this horse is My Itch, and it's been scratched.
There you go. There you go.
Ba-dum-bum-chee.
I had Golden Statue before he was scratched.
Yeah, Golden Scratch.
It was a good bet.
Yeah.
Still waiting on my refund.
Some of these horses, Blockade at 5-1, Donnie, hard to get around. That horse is hard to get around.
Well, yeah. Blockade's tough to navigate.
A lot of problems getting around.
I don't know.
Horse.
I would think Bombs Away has a good chance of getting by that one.
Yeah.
It just depends who's behind the wheel, I guess.
It really does.
Yeah.
I mean, if you put Nuclear Dust in the right position, there's always a chance they can really end the blockade there.
Yeah. Explosive Mind, Donnie, fast out of the gate. But, after that.
Well, you got to have a finisher.
Tends to drift a little bit.
In this one. Yeah.
We got a couple of horses from out of the country. The Marco Shoes, Cuban horse. And then, of course, you got Who Wants Oil. It's a Saudi Arabian horse. So.
A lot of money put into that horse.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The best.
But what we've seen in some of the races leading up to the Saudi Oil just has a real trouble getting by blockade, and it's happened twice now.
Yeah.
That, hasn't been able to finish right there.
Yeah.
Just runs into a wall.
Yeah, blockade may hold that one off. Who knows?
And we've already won. That horse is pretty proud of itself, but it's never finished a race. I mean, it's just never gotten to the finish line. And Gerrymander. There's a horse that is always looking for a fixed race, and a lot of times it just cuts right across the infield.
I read this morning, Mike, that Rigged is undefeated. He's never lost.
Yeah. Well,
he's always paid off anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, Rigged, we talked, not satisfied if another horse wins.
No.
So, if another horse wins, Riggs, he gets pretty upset.
Recount.
Get the rules official in.
Of course, President's Trophy, he doesn't really care to be in the race because if he wins, he knows where that trophy's going, right?
Exactly.
Huh? It's heading to the White House, so that takes care of that. Well, anyway, this is not the Kentucky Derby field today.
No, you said it was the field for the Donald J. Trump Derby.
Yeah.
Held in Kentucky.
Yeah, well, we've had a lot of fun. A lot of fun with it. A lot of fun. I was looking at some of the names of the horses this year, but I like some of these better.
I do too, yeah.
So, Donnie will have a little bit more of that, I'm sure,
these are better.
in his sports headlines and so forth. But big day up there in Kentucky, and looks like the weather's going to be halfway decent up there, Donnie.
Mm-hmm.
I think
it should be a good race.
It's the first time in a couple years it has been raining, right?
Yeah, it's been awful up there.
Yeah.
And that's a whatever kind of racetrack you're at, rain's the worst thing that you can have. And but the one good thing about horse racing, it doesn't matter whether it's raining or whether it's whatever takes place, they're going to run it for the most part.
Run it anyway.
Well,
if it's an automobile race, you're not going to have it unless it's Formula One, and then they'll just put on the rain tires. But Indianapolis, you're just out of luck.
It changes your bets though. You got to bet on the horse who's the best mudder.
Yeah,
true.
Well, start off with some Tennessee news here this morning. The women's golf team, SEC championship.
Nice.
Yeah, they won an SEC championship in golf, and they won it, and they all jumped in a pond there at the golf course. I don't know what that was all about, but that was exciting. Tennessee baseball, Caleb beat West Georgia early in the week, 13-0, and they headed up to Kentucky. They had a successful run last week against Alabama. You know, they won that series, and yesterday they went up to Kentucky, and they were only able to put up 2 runs, about be 9-2.
Nearly got run ruled.
So they got some work to do to win that series. They play at 2 o'clock today and 1 o'clock on Sunday. But how important is this series to them?
Well, you start looking at their record, and you got to get to 13 wins to probably make the postseason, maybe even 14, considering Tennessee hasn't, played its best. Their RPI is a little bit lower, and they lost that non-conference series. So you're sitting at 10 wins now, and your remaining schedule is 2 games against Kentucky, 3 at Oklahoma, which just beat Florida last night in a very big game. And then you've got 3 games against Texas, which is probably the best team in the SEC. So this series is important. And I will say, heading into the series, like we just mentioned, Tennessee had a great weekend against Alabama, got great pitching. Tennessee mixed up its starting rotation heading into Kentucky, moved the guys around to different days, and so far it hasn't fared well. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, is the way I usually approach things. And they keep moving pieces around, and I think it makes it tough on some of those guys when you're constantly moving around and you're put in different situations. So they need a big weekend. Kentucky's also a small ball team and was hitting home runs left and right last night. So that's not a good sign either.
Yeah,
but
they put 2 out of right
that were long.
Well,
gone.
I'll say friendly wind, but they were still good hits, but it's almost the same place in right field.
Tennessee came into the week 12th in the Southeastern Conference, as you mentioned, with 10 wins and 11 losses. And Kentucky.
You're 12th in the SEC, but you're number 24 in the national rankings.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out. But they are 12th in the SEC, and Kentucky in this series they're 13th in the SEC. So, that's there's not very many places below them, Caleb.
No,
these 2 teams.
And you start to look at too. Both are kind of fighting in the postseason. I think Tennessee's probably in the postseason unless there's just like a drastic fall off. But again, if you get swept this weekend, I mean, you still have to win a couple baseball games over this final stretch.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you've got 8 to play.
You got 8 to play, and you need 3 wins at least.
You need at least 3, hopefully 4. So you've got to get. You really need the 2 in Lexington, and
those are the easiest
hope to
get.
pick up 1 game against 2 teams that are at the top of the conference. So.
And when they go to Oklahoma, they're playing in Oklahoma City in a bigger park, and Oklahoma's making a big weekend of it too. So you got that to go. But I agree. I mean, if you don't take the 2 here, you're making it really tough on yourself against 2 really good baseball teams.
I mean, you really. What hurts about last night is if you were hoping for the sweep. That's hard to do on a road trip in the SEC, but you're hoping for the sweep, so you only got to pick up 1 win in your last 6. And it made it a lot harder. First to get the loss, but then to lose that way and that convincingly.
Yeah. Caleb, all this being said, what needs to be done? What do they need to improve on the most to get them on track and back on the right way here?
I think the easy answer is get consistency from your offense. I mean, it's hot and cold when you look at their last few games, just going down like the hit totals. At Kentucky, they had 7 hits turned into 2 runs. That's after a weekend against Alabama, where you had 11 hits, 9 hits, 14 hits, and you put up 8 runs, 10 runs in a run rule, and 11 runs in a win. So this team is obviously a lot better when it gets offensive production. And for the most part, your starters have given you good stuff. I think last night Tegan Coons wasn't his best, and that was the first time he hasn't pitched well in a while. And then you got Evan Blanco, who's been consistent. He usually gives you 6 innings and gives up about 2 runs every outing. And then Landon Mack's been shaky too. So since you've moved this pitching staff around, you're going to have – if you win today, you're going to have Landon Mack, whose last 2 starts have been pretty, awful, in a rubber match on Sunday, and you need Evan Blanco to give you something good today. But I think it all comes back to the offense, because with Tennessee, you expect them to put up runs, you expect them to hit home runs, and you expect them to score. And when you're not scoring, all of a sudden now everybody's looking at your pitching staff that's not doing good. Well, in the past, I mean, whenever you look at some of Tony Vitello's teams, he didn't have the best bullpen every year, the best pitching staff. But when you score 10 runs a game, it makes it really easy on those guys to pitch and execute. So I think it just comes down to you got to get some offensive production on a consistent basis, because some nights you come out and you put up 10 and have 15 hits. Some nights you almost get shut out if it wasn't for a late home run.
Well, Kev, how much is this a fair weather team? And what I mean by that is, under Vitello, we saw Tennessee struggle if it was a rainy weekend, or I think one case at Arkansas it was a snowy weekend. But this team was doing real well. Like you said, last weekend, we get our first cold snap of the spring because there's a freeze warning for tonight in Kentucky. And these guys are suddenly they go from hot as can be, and they're colder than the weather last night.
Well, I mean, that's a good way to look at it, because you remember that non-conference series they dropped. The weather was awful here as well. So I think maybe it could be weather. The problem is, though, even when it's been warm, they've not shown up. You look at the LSU series, the weather was pretty much fine against LSU, and the offense still, laid an egg. So I think you could – I mean, the weather probably doesn't help, and knowing this team too. But again, I mean, the ball was flying last night. Kentucky, like we mentioned, Kentucky had 2 really long home runs out to right field, used the wind. So I don't know. I think weather could be a part of it. I also just think when you look at the offensive construction, 1 through 9, you got guys swinging for the fence, so nobody's doing any jobs besides maybe freshman catcher Trent Grinlinger, and that doesn't work, especially when you've got guys who have a lot of swing and miss and strike out a lot. In the SEC, now that you have scouting reports, if you're swinging for the fence every time, I don't think you're going to see a fastball against a lot of these SEC pitchers who can spin curveballs in there. So I think the weather's a good reason too, and I don't think it's getting any better. Luckily, I think they play at 2 and 1, so I think the day games will help. But I don't think the weather's helping. I don't think the approaches have been very good for much of the year, and that hasn't changed very much. And then at this point, SEC play, everybody has a scouting report. And a lot of these good teams like Kentucky, like Texas, like Oklahoma, that you're going to end the season with, these good, well-coached teams, they're going to use those scouting reports to a T, and I think that's hurting the offense as well.
Well, this year's team at this point certainly doesn't compare with the teams in the past, because at this point we'd be talking about Omaha, and right now there's not much talk about Omaha.
Right now we're just talking about getting through the SEC tournament to make it still playing on Friday.
Exactly. Hey, the Lady Vols softball team is out at Missouri. Tennessee ranked number 9 in the country, and they played on Thursday and beat Missouri 3-1, and then yesterday they beat Missouri again 4-2. And they will be on the SEC network today at 1 o'clock. And they're getting ready to play tournament ball next week, aren't they? I think
this is the final regular season series.
Final series before, and of course they had a big series win against Alabama last week, and they brought out the cigars. There's just something about a woman smoking a cigar. You know what I'm saying? Huh? Huh? I mean, the whole team, and even the coach smoking up a cigar. The whole outfit. What do you think about that, Caleb? You're a young guy. Is that a turn on for a guy like you to see a woman smoking a cigar? I don't know.
Hey, I'm just happy they got a series win over Alabama.
That's right.
Because they had been playing some awful softball heading into that and before their weekend off. I mean, dropping a series to Ole Miss, which isn't very good, dropped a series to Florida. So they already took the series against Missouri, took the series against Alabama, and they're headed into the SEC tournament.
Yeah, they regained some momentum, so to speak, haven't they? Right here at the end of the season, and of course they were going into the week. They were 40-8 and 14-7 in the conference, so that brings them up to 42-8 and 16-7 in the league.
But there's a big difference between being 11-7, which is or 11-6 before the Alabama series, to being 12 to being where they are now.
They're talking top 3 or 4 seed at this point, especially with that win over Alabama.
Yeah. Caleb, Tennessee basketball and Rick Barnes, they were on their annual caravan run last week, speaking engagements around Tennessee, and he announced that Tennessee's schedule looks like they're going to beef it up. They got a great recruiting class coming in here, and they're going to play some top-level teams, and want to talk a little bit about that this morning. Looks like Michigan State's coming in here for a home game. Tom Izzo. The Spartans have won 5 of 7 against the Vols in the history of the two playing, but they've won 3 in a row from Tennessee. And then the Volunteers are going to head up to my home state, so to speak. Back in the day, they're going to go up to Mackey Arena and take on Purdue. That's a huge game. Those are 2 huge games.
Yeah.
Those are 2 quality teams in the Big Ten right there.
No doubt.
And then they got 3 games in the Player Era Festival in Las Vegas. I don't know if those teams have been announced out there as of yet or not, but we know that there's going to be some outstanding teams there. They've got 1 game in the ACC scheduled. Well, no, they got 2 that will probably be on the docket, but North Carolina State for sure will be on there. That game's going to be in Nashville, and Coach Justin Gainey, who took over for there at North Carolina State, will play Tennessee. And of course, that's
play his mentor.
Yeah, play his mentor there. And then they'll have 1 game in the ACC SEC Challenge. And boy, as I sit here, I'd sure like to see that game be Duke. Wouldn't you guys?
Yeah, I think
No question.
I hope they don't give them Syracuse again.
No, Lord,
Syracuse has been awful.
Lord, they've got the quality. Got all these quality guys coming in here, and the hype's big. And hopefully, they're going to get off to a great start. I want to see 2 great teams play. I want to see Duke and Tennessee play.
I could see conditions where they might think about Wake Forest.
Oh man, I hope not. I hope not. I don't want Pittsburgh, and I don't want Wake Forest, and I don't know. North Carolina, I thought I might like to have North Carolina, but they've changed coaches over there and lost a lot of players. So I don't know. I'd like to see Duke get in there. But I was looking at Michigan State. We talk about Tennessee beefing up their schedule. Listen to Michigan State's non-conference schedule so far: Connecticut, Arkansas, Duke, Gonzaga, and Tennessee.
Goodness.
Boy, I'll tell you what, I don't know how many of those are home games, but I'd go out and buy me some tickets up there. They're bringing some of those people.
That's a murderer's row right there, isn't it?
Yeah, you look at, Tennessee's schedule now, that'll be 7 of its 13 non-conference games are either against Power 5 or teams like Gonzaga.
Goodness.
So they're going to be, you're going to be rolling into the SEC play fully tested.
Yeah.
And especially, that Las Vegas tournament, we don't know the teams yet, but you'll play at least 3 games against Power 5 teams or Gonzaga, who's invited.
Right.
So, that won't be any slack off of competition there either.
Well, I like to see them play those teams. It really lets you know where you're at, doesn't it, as far as the season goes. And
makes the games watchable in November.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Other big news in basketball is they're expanding, or it looks like they're going to expand from 68 to 76 teams for men and women. And what they're going to do with those extra teams is they're going to add them to the play-in games.
Oh.
Going to add them to the play-in games.
Okay.
Well, I think you have to win, 6 games normally to win the NCAA tournament. So if you got to play these play-in games, you're going to have to win. You're going to have to win more than 6 games to win the tournament. That's almost an impossible situation. 6 is bad enough, but more than 6, Caleb, that's pretty
That's
tough.
a lot of playing games. I just – do we really think we need to expand the NCAA tournament?
I don't know. Are you watering it down more, or should you just let everybody everybody in and let them go?
Especially on the women's basketball side, those first round games were blowouts.
Yeah.
So are we just gonna have more? Are we just gonna have more blowouts? Just because the talent level so far from the top teams to the bottom
I think it's going to be
teams.
interesting to see how they handle it, because you can see it. Theoretically, they could be taking some of these conference champions from the mid-majors and putting them against each other and maybe spicing it up with a couple Power 5 games, but you could almost see it being a filter for the OVC champ to play another mid-major champ just to get into the field of 64.
But that would be I think that'd be unfair to
I didn't say anything about fair. I'm saying that's a possibility of how they could handle it, because theoretically you're going to be doing, like, if the format holds where you've got 2 capable 12 seeds playing each other to be the actual 12 seed in the field of 64, then you can actually make a case for mid-majors playing each other at that point, which is not what I think the seeding system would be favorable, and I don't think it would help the TV, but it's a possibility.
Yeah, that gap between mid-majors and Power 5 schools is really gotten wider. Now, if they'd have done this maybe 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago, it would probably made for a more exciting tournament. It was more of a level field for everybody. But now, and I tell you what, this year was really kind of disappointing because there really wasn't any Cinderellas, so to speak, coming out of that.
No, you had some close games and nobody did anything winning-wise.
Some of them were really lopsided, really bad.
They were.
So
I think that's just and to speak to that point, if in the NFL draft talk, some NFL executives have been telling mid-major teams that they're not going to go to their pro day because any good player that those mid-major teams have already gone to bigger name teams. And I think that's the same thing in basketball and baseball. Any player that was worthwhile at the mid-major level is already
they're in the
gone.
portal.
Exactly. They're getting paid by Kentucky or somebody in the SEC.
And there's no guarantee that these mid-majors are going to be a part of these teams they choose. I mean, they could go and choose some Power 5 schools.
Hey, Auburn would have made the tournament.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. See, it's no guarantee that mid-majors are going to have a
It does
spot.
alleviate that situation where you've got a Miami of Ohio who goes, somebody goes undefeated through the regular season and loses in their conference tournament. That it gives you more leeway to grab that team rather than being locked in on some of these mid-majors. Because we've seen that happen where that mid-major didn't get in. That was a 1 or 2 loss team and had or stumbled in the semifinals.
Now, do you think if you're the 76th team in, do you still hang the banner that you made the tournament and celebrate it like you made the full tournament?
It depends on the school. There's some of them that'll, the fact that they were even considered, they hang a banner. 100 years from now, nobody will know the difference.
I've talked about this before. You had to win the league to get in the tournament when I played. You had to win the league, and I'm sitting there thinking, all this hype about Connecticut this year and the shot the kid made and going to the final game and all that, they wouldn't even have been there. They didn't win their league.
That's their case for doing this,
They didn't win the league. They didn't win the tournament. They didn't win anything. But now, getting back to these play-in games, it did help a team this year that kind of struggled in the SEC, and you all know who that Texas. Texas, had play-in games and they advanced.
Yeah, they did.
They did a pretty good job, but I think you eventually just run out of steam. That deal.
Hey, if they can sell an ad and put it on TV, I think we'll have 150.
Caleb, have we heard? Is this going to be? Are they not still going to do a centralized site trying to play 12 games? They're going to spread this out over 3 or 4 locations.
I don't know. I haven't seen for concrete, but I would bet they do something like the women do, where if you're getting northeast, probably just do it 4 northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest, and then have sites there. Because on the women's side, they're playing games at the host sites because then you can just practice the next day and play at the host site. So I don't know. If you try to play 12 games in Dayton, I don't think it'll.
I don't think that works anymore.
And you're spending a lot. You're losing money basically almost in the playing game trying to fly all these teams everywhere if you're having those many playing games.
Yeah. Why don't they just let everybody in? What's the problem with that? More money, more teams, more excitement. Some of those teams in the bottom of the SEC get in the SEC tournament, and they get new life. Games are pretty close, pretty competitive. Why don't you just let everybody in and make it a tournament and where you get a true national champion?
Yeah, I think the
NIT
NIT
win
is
10
dead.
straight games to get there.
Yeah, well, these guys are making a lot of money. They can do it. They want to play pro ball. That'd be good preparation for them. Play that many games.
But Mike, your NIT, I don't think there's any hope for it at this point.
No, it's looking bad.
Yeah,
the NIT is looking pretty bad unless somehow or another you can go to East and West and have an NCAA and NIT, and they just name the tournament, name the tournament, both of them, and then the NIT champion of the East plays the NCAA champion of the West, or however you want to divide it up, however you want to gerrymander it up, and they play each other, and then
Well, you could also do
you have an NIT champion, from that area, and you have an NCAA champion from this area, and then you have a national champion. So
the
that
first
way
32 teams out from the NCAA tournament play a loser's bracket in the NIT.
If you lose your play-in game, you get an automatic induction into the NIT.
I know. It's kind of sad. It was a great tournament at one time when they didn't take everything but the kitchen sink, in the NCAA tournament. Anyway, Hey, we'll take a timeout here, and when we return, Donnie Moore will provide some high school district scores and any other news from high school sports. And then veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons will join us with his feature, Mark It Down. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports Page, Blount County Sports Voice, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925. Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
Welcome back to the GoTeez Sports Page. Donnie Moore, it's district tournament play, isn't it?
Yeah, things are winding down
It's upon us.
in high school sports.
Yeah, they only got about what?
They're winding down in high school.
Three more
overall.
weeks? Three more weeks of school. Is that all they got? Something
No,
like that?
I think Blount County's last day was this week, right?
For the seniors, it was
for the seniors.
yesterday.
Yeah.
I think everybody else has another week.
Everybody else has another week.
Is that right? So they're cutting school off around the middle of May now?
Yeah.
Is that
Well, that's what
right?
happens when you start school, 3 weeks before Labor Day.
Starting August.
Yes. Whatever happened to that deal where you went Labor Day to Memorial Day?
Yeah, September to
T-caps.
through May, huh?
Did you go?
I did.
You
Yeah.
went Labor Day to Memorial Day?
Yep.
I just find you guys highly intelligent. I think that you're more highly intelligent than what we're putting out right now. Would you all see it that way or not?
Well, one would like to think anyway.
Caleb may argue that a little bit over on the other side. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's just sad to think
were
that
in
the school
school.
calendar is driven by state testing and when the test takes place, and it's placed because how long it takes them to get accurate scores back
Yeah.
before the next school year
And
starts.
you know, they go back so early. They talk about money and what things cost, and they go back in the middle of summer and they're running air conditioning, to the tilt during those months. See, we went back, and my school didn't even have air conditioning. We went back Labor Day, and, of course, we just had great big old windows they opened up.
Yep, that's what we did.
Pretty much, yeah. So, yeah, they saved a lot of money on air conditioning back in those days.
Our windows didn't even open.
Didn't even. So you were at the mercy of air conditioning. If the air conditioning went out, you were in big trouble.
Ours didn't even open. They had that hand crank, and they opened sideways.
Yeah. Donnie Moore, what do you got over there?
Well,
Who's winning and who's losing?
The Mandy B Street Realty local focus section is going to be a little bit slim today because I didn't get scores reported very well, but we got a few, so we're going to start. Marcus is going to help us out with some things that happened in the tournaments.
All right.
Marcus and Caleb both, I'm sure. But we'll talk about prep scores first of all that we have. In baseball, Heritage beat Alcoa 4-1. Was that an upset or not? Heritage is good.
Heritage won the regular season series.
I thought they did.
And Alcoa didn't throw any of its top 3 arms.
Oh, gotcha.
So they're sitting on their top 3 arms today, heading to elimination game at 1.
Mm-hmm.
But Gavin French went a full 7, and it would have been a shutout if he didn't have he walked a guy who stole second, stole third, and then I think it was a wild pitch or pass ball to score him in the 7th. So it was a very much we don't care about this runner
no
situation
doubt.
there.
Yeah. Upshot is that Heritage wins 4-1. Greenback put on an offensive show on Thursday of this week as they beat Midway 17-1.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, you score 17 points that sounds like a football score more than a baseball score. Moving over.
If you didn't get a hit in that game, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
right?
no kidding. Yeah, you're in a slump.
You got that right.
No doubt. Another tournament game, William Blount versus Maryville on Friday, and the Govs win this one 11-10. Now that's an upset.
That is an upset. Maryville had beaten William Blount 4 times this year. 3 times in the regular season, 1 time in the tournament.
Wow.
And get this, Donnie. Drew Campbell went all 7 innings for the Govs, giving up all 10 runs and 15 hits because they're so deep in this tournament now. They probably don't have any pitching left.
Yeah.
And they still came out with the win.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Which
congratulations to the Govs.
Now, where do they go now?
So the Govs will play Jefferson County today in the District 2 4A tournament, and that also means they get to go to the region tournament no matter what.
Okay, so
and
they're in the region.
They're in the region tournament, and then
qualified for the region.
And then Maryville season ends.
It's out.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
well.
they were looking. They were looking for 3 straight region tournaments.
Good.
Well, that was a big game for William Blount because you know they were kind of slumping. Coming down here toward the end of the year.
They had stopped hitting.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They haven't had a great hitting season.
Yeah,
and
especially later on.
But their best attribute was the offense, and then they put up 4 runs, I think, 5 runs maybe against Sevier County to get to this point. And Sevier County's not a very good team, but they came out with the offense that has won them a lot of games this year to upset Maryville.
Good for them.
Well, the other score I have for you in baseball is Seymour at Carter. And we talked about Greenback and Midway being a kind of a football score, 17-1. Well, get this one. Seymour wins this one 19-0.
So I'm going to assume that only went 5 innings.
Well, I would imagine so. Yeah, I would imagine so. We got one softball score for you. Alcoa takes care of business with Heritage 4-0, shuts them out.
And we'll follow up on that one, too.
Yeah, we'll follow up on that one a little bit later and tell you where they go from here.
While you're on that, though.
Yes, do it.
Kalia Osborne, the Alcoa's ace pitcher, has thrown 19 innings of shutout softball against Heritage this season.
Good grief. 19 innings.
Well, Donnie, we got signings.
Okay.
We got some signings. So, Heritage, Aaliyah Smith has signed with North Green Basketball.
North Green, okay.
And then William Blount's Eliza Hicks has signed with Spalding to play volleyball. That took place earlier this week.
Spalding, are they the ones that manufacture the volleyballs?
The basketballs?
I don't think so. I don't think that's how it works.
That Labor Day to Memorial Day, that's how Donnie comes up with these.
There we go, yeah.
Yeah.
I
got it upstairs.
I got a proper education.
So, and this one's a big one, but it's a school you're not going to recognize. But Heritage, Trinity Roberts, their state champion in wrestling. She is signed with McKendree. Now, you don't know that name yet, but you're going to, especially in the wrestling circle.
Yeah,
but
where is McKendree?
So, NCAA had its inaugural women's wrestling championships.
Okay.
McKendree had 171 team points there, had 3 individual national champions and 10 All-Americans.
Wow.
And
pretty good wrestling program,
it's a pretty good program, and it's a really good match for Trinity, so we're glad to see her do that.
Outside of the St. Louis area, Donnie.
Okay, thanks.
She said, I did the signing story on that one. She said she went up there and trained with them, and she could tell, it was legit. Apparently, she said she wouldn't tell me who, but she had offers from 2 D1 programs who got in the Final Four, but knew McKendree, they're D2, but they roll through their competition.
Good.
So,
good for her.
Yeah, she'll keep winning championships. If
she
I
will.
Bet.
Yeah, I bet she will too. And anything else, guys?
Well, we'll hit some more of it.
Yeah,
we'll hit some more of it.
Let me get out of this part of the segment and pass it to you, Marcus. Now, at this time, we're going to feature our famous Marcus Fitzsimmons for his feature, Mark It Down. You're listening to WKZE 92.5 FM and 1180 AM. We call it, and they call it, Mid-Century Radio. Marcus?
Famous, huh?
Yeah.
Infamous, maybe, but
well, there's a fine line between famous and infamous.
There are 2 billion people in China not watching me this morning, so
hey, not that you don't know if they're watching.
Yeah, they
I'm
wouldn't tell you
I'm
if they
pretty
were.
certain, Caleb. To be honest, I'm pretty certain of it. But we got bracketology because Donnie alluded, we have a lot going on. For those of you who are watching, you can see the circles under Caleb's eyes because it's been a long week.
And he's got allergies.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
Well, it's a nice it's that nice shade of pink. Covers up those little black marks under his eyes. It's wonderful. Josh Lane treats him so well. So, but anyway, we'll just go through some of the bracketology, and I'll have Caleb jump in with but we're going in order. But starting off with baseball, you didn't hear Donnie mention District 2 AA, and there's a good reason for that, really. They didn't start until last night, really. First round was a play-in game between GP and Claiborne County, with the winner having to go to Pigeon Forge. Now, here's the thing that's weird about District 2A. Because of the way it sets up for regionals with the top two advancing, they made the semifinals the most challenging thing. So Eagleton is playing.
Which works out pretty much a lot of the time.
Yeah, so they're doing a 3-game series for the semifinals, the best two of three.
Cool.
So Eagleton is hosting Cumberland Gap. They played the first game. I believe they were going to try to play it yesterday. They're playing right after we get off the air today for Game 2. And if it's necessary, they'll play a Game 3 immediately following this afternoon.
3-game series. Wow.
But so you have Eagleton playing Cumberland Gap in, like I said, best two of three in the semifinals. You have Pigeon Forge playing GP for the other one, best two of three. The winners will meet for a winner-take-all, which is going to decide the 1-2 seed. But basically, whoever wins these series is in the region. So it's an interesting format.
I think I like the format if the district was competitive.
There is that.
The problem is,
that.
Pigeon Forge and Eagleton rolled through this district, ended up splitting their series against each other, but none of the games against the other teams were close.
I said it was good in concept. There are some things that come up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Couple of mercy rules.
I don't know that any of these semifinals games are going to go more than 5 innings.
No, I think last night Eagleton won.
But I think the
9-5. So.
But I think the championship game is going to be a really good one. But it does, with the way this district sets up, I think Eagleton and Pigeon Forge both have to kind of shepherd pitching, depending on how much they want that district title and the number 1 seed.
Couple of years ago, or at least, but you never would have thought Pigeon Forge, Eagleton in the same district. I mean, it just didn't work. You'd be talking about Alcoa and some of these other district matchups. But, I like a little bit of refreshing change in things. So I think it's a good thing.
It is.
Eagleton's keeping up the trend of Blount County baseball, taking it to Pigeon Forge. They won that first game, kept the second one close. So that district championship will end up being a rubber match for that.
Yep. And it may not be the way that
with the
class
pitching.
stacks up. It's likely they could play a 4th time.
Yeah.
So anyway, that takes care of our 2A bracket. So going up one class, District 5 3A, staying in baseball, and we were touching on the last night's game a little bit, but that was where Heritage gets the 4-1 win over Alcoa, with French picking up the win on the mound. And also getting tying school mark for home runs in a season.
He tied the single season home run record with his solo shot. He joked that Coach Robbie Bennett told him about it in the cage, and then he had like 2 or 3 bad games in a row, and he said that he jinxed him. But then he launched a solo shot yesterday that cleared the fence by a good margin and ties that solo record. And
so what is that record?
12.
12.
So he's looking for number 13 to break the record, and he'll have at least 3 more games to do it, at least. So.
I think he can handle that.
I mean, he threw a complete 7 last night, 106 pitches, and then at the plate hit a solo shot. So
had a good evening, didn't he?
Yeah, good night at the park.
And that makes sense in their format because, the winner of that game is in the region, so that's the one you need. Everything, the rest of the next 3 days is whether you're going to be a 1 or 2. So it sends Alcoa down to the elimination bracket. They're playing again right just almost after we get right off the air at 1 o'clock today. They'll be playing South Doyle in the elimination game. The winner of that game will get to play Heritage at 4 o'clock, and that will decide. If assuming Heritage wins, that's it. If Heritage loses, they'll play an if game later on Monday. But
So that game's for most of the marbles.
most of the marbles.
Yeah.
Heritage has room for a bad day if they need it.
And whoever wins that 1 p.m. game will get the other spot in the region tournament.
Yeah.
So, and basically in this bracket, you have to win, 3 games, and you get a region tournament spot. So it's just a race to whoever can win those 3 games.
Race to 3.
Well, if you do it the short way, it's only 2, but if you do it the long way, you got to win 4.
I got you.
Yeah.
But that's how we're setting up with 5-3A. And again, this is very much like what we saw with basketball, where we have Heritage and Alcoa in the same district, and it is again coming down to them having to get through each other to get to the championship.
Yeah, and they're having to get used to playing each other in the same region.
I think at this point they're used to it because it's happened every conceivable way already this.
And I was gonna say
year.
that's another district and region where I would not be shocked if they're playing again for a region championship here next week.
It is entirely possible given the strength of both those programs. Moving up to 2-4A baseball, sticking with baseball. Again, 4 teams in double elimination format. I really didn't like how this played out in basketball, and I'm not liking the baseball bracket any better. So, number 1 seed Jeff County, they beat Sevier County to get into the winners semis. And to kind of characterize what we're going to talk about, the opening round, Maryville's a 2 seed, William Blount's the 3. Maryville gets a 10-0 win. I think that was the 3rd meeting between the programs this year. 4th.
They play 3 times in the regular season.
So that set up Maryville versus Jefferson County, which Jefferson County won. Sent Maryville down to the elimination bracket. Well, they were waiting on the winner between those first-round losers between Sevier County and William Blount. William Blount wins that elimination game 3-2, squeaks out.
Jake Farmer went all 7 and was at 104 pitches in the 7th, facing trouble, had a mound meeting, got a ground ball and a strikeout to win the game.
And
nice.
That's the one where
William Blount has supposed to happen right there.
William Blount has 10, 11 seniors in that group.
They've got a ton of seniors.
And stuck with the senior. I got to give. That's one of those situations where you can look incredibly smart as a coach, or get second guessed the entire offseason.
And Coach Justin Young's credit, I mean, he's had Jake Farmer in those situations since he was a sophomore, when he was pitching district tournament baseball as a sophomore. So he'd been in that situation before and handled Sevier County and got away. I mean, it was by that point in the night, too, because for some context, Maryville's bus was an hour late. So they didn't start until almost 5:10. So that William Blount Sevier County game got started about 8. So this mound meeting was happening about 10:20. It's getting cold. It's quiet.
Yeah.
So it was tense. It wasn't like there was a lot going on. It was a tense environment, and he bared down. And Coach Young called it one of the gutsiest efforts he can remember from his time at William Blount, and pushed him to another elimination game and bought another day of baseball for the Govs.
And then they made it pay off because as Donnie gave the score and Caleb was mentioning, William Blount gets the 11-10 win over Maryville last night. Eliminates Maryville. So they're denied that next trip to the region tournament. William Blount advances. They'll play Jefferson County. They'll play that at noon today. And should they pull the upset with Jeff County, they'll play the if game after that. But still, you're looking. It's been William Blount's had 2 late games that went down to the final inning and final pitches. So getting up this morning to play at noon is William Blount's going to have some wear and tear on him.
I don't know who's pitching for William Blount today. I have no idea who they're going to roll out there. But, I mean, the Govs have made you look at it, too, from Maryville's perspective. They left a much harder district with Farragut and Bearden that
Hardin Valley.
and Hardin Valley that they traditionally have played in, and went in this district. And like you said, with the way their format is, and I talked to a lot of those coaches about it, how it could be easy for them to not play a tournament with 4 teams in that district, but they choose to play a tournament. And it paid off for William Blunt, who lost 3 times in the regular season to Maryville and the 4th to open the tournament. Didn't let Maryville get a 5th win over its county foe, and now they're going to a region tournament with those 10 seniors who, at this point, they're playing with house money. Nobody expected them to be in a district championship.
That's true. You're right.
And so,
That's absolutely true.
At this point, they've just got, whoever's left to pitch and see what they can do today. But at the end of the day, they get to go to a region tournament, which probably, and they'll, and it'll get hosted at Jefferson County because it's an even year. So they don't have to go very far again either. They'll be right there at Jefferson County. Or if they pull off the upset and win 2 today, now you got a region tournament over at Charlie Paleo Field. So it'll be a busy day for the Govs.
And I'm not.
There you go, Charlie. I know you're listening. So
it would be great to be able to put that into a series of stories next week about at Charlie Paleo Field.
Yep.
Yeah, it would.
And give those seniors one final run on their home turf.
It would be great to see. That said, Jefferson County is a strong team this year.
Yeah.
And there is something I've never figured out with Sevier County not being able to be good in basketball or baseball and football at the same time.
Because it's a traditionally, I was telling somebody, I was telling Josh, it was Sevier County is a traditionally strong baseball school.
They've had some really good football teams and some really bad baseball teams, and then they've had some really good baseball teams, and the football team would be a one-win team. So they never seem to have those the same year.
I will say Sevier County's super young, and the pitcher that held William Blunt to those 3 runs and 2 hits. William Blunt won that game against Sevier County with 2 hits. He's a freshman.
Good grief.
So I'm sure we'll be talking about him for years to come in that district.
Well, we'll switch over to softball for the 2 tournaments that are running right now because the Eagleton district is not. I don't believe they start until Monday.
I think you're right.
So for 2-4A. They will be starting on Monday as well, but Maryville finished that as the number 1 seed. They edged out William Blunt, who it was the 2 seed. So Maryville is going to host Sevier County on Monday at 5:30, and then William Blunt hosts Jefferson County in the first round, and then after that, all the games will be at Maryville. So
I have to say, as a guy who works at the newspaper and has to cover these games, having both first-round games played on the exact same day at the exact same time at different places is really annoying. They're both going to be at 5:30 on Monday.
It is.
So if you're a fan and you just want to watch, because I know a lot of people, especially on the baseball side, if you've got doubleheader, you just show up and watch both.
Exactly.
Enjoy the show. You don't get to do that on the softball side.
Nope.
Caleb, I will tell you that you're lucky because both games are on this side of the river.
That is true. It could be a lot
We've had
worse.
district tournament formats where they just, instead of doing stages and we had an 8-team region, they had 4 first-round games at the exact same time, 4 different locations, and they were all on the other side of the river.
Oh man.
I guess it could always be.
And we had Maryville, William Blunt, and Heritage in playing in 3 of those. So it's not the worst format. It can be worse, but that will be a double elimination format.
It has redeeming qualities.
And it looks likely for another Maryville William Blunt meeting at least once, possibly twice, depending on how that tournament plays out. We'll see. But they are very dependent on the weather because their championship game won't wrap till Thursday, which is going to drop them in the region play really quickly after the end of by the time the tournament wraps.
Yeah, and I think region play for softball starts Monday of the next week. But we saw last year, you get a couple rain delays, all of a sudden you're 1 day rest.
Oh yeah,
having
you're
to
a
go
day
somewhere.
behind.
Exactly.
That's right.
So we'll finish up with 5-3A, which we're back to the Alcoa Heritage District. This is for softball. We'll make that flip over. So Loudon and South Doyle opened that one up. Loudon advanced. South Doyle was out. Alcoa and Loudon played the official first-round game. Alcoa advanced out of that one. Heritage and Sequoia matched off in the other one. Heritage was the 2 and Sequoia was the 3 seed. Heritage won that one, so that set up the Alcoa Heritage score that Donnie was mentioning just a little while ago.
Yep.
So, and Caleb, you hit on this. There is one particular pitcher for Alcoa who seems to have Heritage's number this year, and the Lady T's have not been afraid to put her back out there and just see how far she can keep that scoreless inning streak going.
Yep. And I'd be willing to bet if they meet in the championship game, which I would say is likely for both of those programs, that I'd bet Osborne rolls back out in the circle again for the try to extend the scoreless streak against Heritage. Because even though Heritage this year, to their standards would call it a down year with the injuries and everything they've had to endure to get to this point, there's probably still going to be a region tournament team, I'd say.
They should be a region tournament team, and a strong region tournament team.
Yeah.
So what Heritage faces is Loudon and Sequoia played each other for elimination games. Sequoia advanced. That's where Heritage will fall into the elimination bracket. That game will be Monday at 6 p.m. with Heritage facing Sequoia. The winner of that game will advance to the championship game, which we played Tuesday, playing Alcoa. And the if necessary game will be on Wednesday.
Yeah, they've spread out that tournament, like y'all said, to make sure if there's any rain, they have a ton of time.
Yeah, they have a ton of time to make something up should the weather get in the way. And, it may what we said about the weather forecast in Kentucky, there may be snow before the end of this thing. We don't know. We may start this. We may have snow in the district tournaments and heat warnings in the state tournament, but that's just the way we roll through Tennessee.
Wow, that's true.
So we also had a coaching hire I wanted to get in there. Maryville's new girls basketball coach, Alex Bowers, Maryville High School, because we had 2 announcements this week from Maryville's. But I remember Alex when he was playing for Randy Lambert at Maryville College.
I started to say, I thought I remember.
Played on some really good teams, really fun player to watch. He was one of those gritty guys, but one of those physical wings that could come up and shoot that. One of the last guys I think I've seen that could hit the 15-footer pretty consistently.
Goodness,
and then
15-feeder.
He's coached a couple places. I believe he was at GP Middle School, GP Junior High.
He started the program.
Nice.
At Gatlinburg Pittman Junior High.
Which if you're not familiar with the Maryville College coaching trees, there is a very strong Maryville College contingent in Sevier County and especially at GP. So he'll be coming down to take over Lady Rebels program.
Yeah,
Good.
And he won a middle school state title with that program he started last year. And he told me he had no urge to leave Gatlinburg Pittman. His family loved it. That's where his kids went. But he had some people from Maryville reach out to see if he was interested. And when he started talking to the athletic department and saw how much they'd invest and support him, he jumped at the opportunity. And he worked actually alongside Raul Placeres, who went from Maryville College, Tennessee Tech, as an assistant coach. And that's where he got his coaching, career started, was at Maryville College after he graduated.
That's where he got his chops, right there.
Yep, right under Coach Randy Lambert. And then he went to Knoxville Catholic as their head coach in the mid-2010s, which, if you don't realize, Catholic was not very good during those years. There wasn't a lot of talent, and they were playing teams with a lot of talent. It's not the Catholic you think of now. So he didn't have the best run there, but kind of learned the area, learned the environment, played in the district, and a lot of the opponents he'll play in with Maryville. Went back to the middle school level, but kept coaching AAU and staying in touch with the high school level. So even though he's coming from the middle school ranks, he's got connections at the high school level. He knows what to expect, and he's ready to. He told me he's ready to hit the ground running and get the Lady Rebels back to their expectations. Because
I'd say he is.
If you don't, I know y'all remember, but if listeners don't, Maryville was a state tournament team.
Oh, definitely.
6-7 years ago and competing consistently in the region tournament. So he's trying to get the Lady Rebels back to that mark.
And then we also had the Maryville College announcement that they were, for Raul's replacement, I believe they were, his assistant took over. Is that correct?
No, the assistant from they hired the assistant from Mary Washington.
Assistant from Mary Washington.
And so Mary Washington is fresh off a national championship. So they hired the national championship assistant coach from Mary Washington. So he comes down here for his first head coaching gig after 12 years up there. And they're a consistent tournament team. So he doesn't have much familiarity with the South and with what he's getting into, but he knows how to win. And they introduced him yesterday. He wouldn't commit to a style of play, but said he's excited and hopes that Maryville College will invest in the program.
Yep.
Good.
All right. So Donnie, I think that rounds it up, and Mike, I think we're free to
coverage,
turn the page and let Donnie play commercials.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, it's
Sounds
time to
good.
turn the page. Next up is the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports Page And now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.net.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew, and now it's time for the GoTeez Sports Page Player of the Week segment, sponsored by Anderson Lumber Company, where quality service is always a priority. Proudly serving Blount County for over 100 years. Marcus Fitzsimmons, I'm going to go back to you because we've got an important GoTeez Sports Page event coming up here in another, week and a half, I guess? It's getting close.
It's
it
very
like
close.
It's
Sure is.
coming around quicker. You know, when you get my age, things come around real quick every year. Seem to.
Me too,
But
Mike.
it's getting close.
Well, first let me give the shout out for especially people who are watching us online or maybe watching this later in the week. We are on Bigfoot Watch today.
That's right.
We have been keeping an eye out the window to see if any big feet walk by. I guess that's the right
They're all
word.
up in Townsend today.
But, well, they got to get there. So we've
That's
been
right,
watching
they
to
do.
see if any of them trek by on their way
Yeah.
up to Townsend and
sure.
get spotted for the Bigfoot Festival, the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival today, which opens up, I think the gates just opened a little while ago. But it's running up there at the Greater Smoky Event Center that's owned by the partnership up there in Townsend. And, our boss and also Bigfoot fan, Brian Johnson's up there today, so they'll be running things. And I want to give them that shout out. Though our big event coming up Wednesday, May 13th, the GoTeez Sports Page Awards. This year we're going to be at Eagleton. We've established the tradition that whoever wins the Athletic Director of the Year award gets, along with their nice plaque, the responsibility and rights to host us the following year. So Scott West was our winner last year as AD of the year and has been fantastic so far, helping us out, getting things set up.
Scott's a good guy.
To be in the Eagleton Gym on next Wednesday night. I'll say this, almost all the nominees are in at this point, but not all. We're still waiting on some nominees to arrive, and that's going to further increase the stress on some of the members of the panel in the postseason as we try to go through all of those to get the award winners to the awards committee and get those selected and get those ready to come up to the podium and get everybody invited. But nominees should find out from their athletic directors who is being nominated from their school. The nominees are all invited to the award ceremony along with family, friends, parents, whoever wants to get a ticket and attend. And we will be announcing the winners that night. I believe Brian Rice has already committed to MC the show again for us.
Good. He did a good job last year.
A voice people are familiar with, even if they don't usually see him, but they will recognize his voice when he's up at the podium from his work with Tennessee Athletics, and we'll have that going on, and then that will close out our season because next week will be our final show of the regular season. We're going
from Bluetick, final show from Bluetick.
Final show from Bluetick, and then we will do the award show. While the award show is going on up front in the main gym, and all the parents and athletes and all the hoopla is going on up there. We will be the Joan Collins of the award show. We will be grabbing people as they come off the stage, and we will be doing interviews and be doing the behind-the-scenes backstage show, interviewing the winners and talking to them about briefly about their seasons. And some of them are greatly surprised to be in the position that they were called up, and some have been there and done that before. We have some really talented athletes in this county.
Yes, we do.
And it's always a fun night. I do not think that my request that we get an artificial turf green carpet has been honored. I'm very disappointed in this outcome.
Tough economy right now, Marcus.
Well, I know, but I really thought that would be a great touch to have a green carpet, and I don't think I'm going to win that one this year, but it'll be another fight for next year. We'll never give up.
There we go. Don't ever give up.
We didn't give up
that.
when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor, right?
That's true.
Or whatever else they said in Animal House. Please, nobody write that down on your finals in the history exam. But we'll have that going on. Like I said, athletes will find out from their athletic director if they were a nominee and should make plans to attend. And we will, as soon as Bigfoot Festival wraps and we start getting the finalists selected, as they go to the awards committee, it will be showing up on social media as well. The folks over at GoTeez will be getting up the finalists and putting those out. And each category, there won't be just a long list, though there will be a long list. But each category in sport will be announced with finalists, and they'll be popping up on social media. So you can keep a lookout for that. But with that, Mike, I made a mistake. I'm going to give a promo for next week. We will have representatives from the Smoky Mountain Scottish Festival and Games coming in, the people who throw the telephone poles and call that a sport. We have some of them coming in next week. And it was my fault I got some dates confused. But they will be coming in next week, and we will get to talk to them about a lot of the similarities between modern track events and what goes on at the Highland Games. But we will get to talk to them and discuss how exactly you train to throw a telephone pole.
Or as it's known in the sport, as a caber.
It's a caber toss, and it is not a distance. It is, as most people, it is about precision as to getting a perfect turn.
Yeah.
But we will discuss how you train for that and go into that with them. We'll also go into some of the weights that they use and how exactly you have to do some of these things, because some of the equipment that's used is particular to each particular festival or games. They have their own rock. They have their own cabers. They each have their own peculiarities and shape. So it's not like it's a standard one where you bring your own shot put to a track meet. It's not like that when it comes to throwing stones. So we'll discuss that with them next week. But Mike, we'll turn the page and let you have the rest of this time.
I have some events of the Highland Games going at my house every once in a while. If the lawnmower doesn't start, I throw it down the hill, or if I can't get something fixed with a hammer, it goes back into the field. The hammer does.
Well, they've got those sheep demonstrations if you need help with the grass, Mike. I mean, those border collies are phenomenal.
I have been to the Highland Game, when they used to have, maybe they still do, have them over in North Carolina, Grandfather Mountain.
They do.
Yeah, I've been over there when I worked at Emory and Henry. My wife and I journeyed over there a couple of times and saw that. It's quite an event.
Well, what's going on, this one will be at the same place Bigfoot's going on. It's 2 weeks from now, but it has grown to not quite grandfather size, but close to it.
Yeah, very good.
So that it is one of the 3 biggest games in the Southeast. It's the first one of the series. Smoky Mountain comes first, then Grandfather's in July, and Stone Mountain down in Atlanta is in October.
Very good. I want to talk a little bit about switching gears here. Talk a little bit about Juke Harris. Caleb, transfer portal closed May the 2nd, but Rick Barnes is still active in the transfer portal, and they're going after Juke Harris. Is he the Wake Forest player that is in the portal, and 6'7", averaged 21 points a game last year at Wake Forest. Is he the crown jewel in Coach Barnes's transfer portal team he's put together?
I think they're picking up on him and trying to make him that crown jewel. I mean, Rick Barnes went and visited him on Wednesday. A couple Michigan reporters said yesterday that Juke Harris isn't going to Michigan, which means that he's probably, closer to considering Tennessee. He is messing with the draft a little bit, so there's that part. But, if Tennessee lands Juke Harris, you lose Nate Ament, but you get another 6 foot, a 6'7" wing player who averaged 21 points a game last year in Wake Forest. That would be a pretty big pickup.
I think they've got a great chance at him. He's projected right now as a second-round draft pick. I don't think that's a good situation for him based on the amount of money.
And how much more money he can make with a good season.
Absolutely, that they're throwing around in college right now. I think it'd be smart for him to stay in and improve his draft maybe to next year. They want him really bad. I'd like to know the figure they're throwing around with him, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. I'd like to take the figure, too.
Yeah, really.
You look at it's got to be several million if he's going to pass up a second-round draft pick. But I think to your point, Mike, if he comes to Tennessee and has a good year, he's going to be a lot higher than a second-round draft pick or a fringe. Some people haven't projected in that. I think it's technically the first round because it's like the compensation draft where you're like pick 33. But if he had a good year, he'd shoot up draft boards next year and make, again, a lot of money at Tennessee and be a part of a really good team from what they've built in the transfer portal.
Maybe you know the answer to this. I'm a little curious what he was doing out in California because that's how far Barnes had to go last week to talk to him. I would think he would still be in school there at Wake Forest in classes, but I don't know. That was a long trip.
You think they're going to class, Mike?
He made a long trip out there
he's on NBA draft analysis.
Yeah.
He's on that pre-draft program that they have, and they don't care about the school year anymore.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure he's got one online class that he might be working on himself, but I don't think these kids they're worried about school too much.
I guess not. But Louisville stepped in there a little bit too, trying to get their
I think
name in the picture. But I think Barnes got an inside track for this guy.
Yeah, I think again Barnes has a track record because how easy is it to show to this kid? Obviously he's good already. But if you're Rick Barnes, you just say, look at Dalton Connect, look at Chaz Lanier, look at Jacoby Gillespie. Just come in here, we'll let you play your game 1 year, and you're off to the draft.
See you later.
Yeah.
And we're going to pay you really well.
And you're going to probably win a lot of basketball games. He's going to the Elite Eight.
And for the first time in your life, you're going to play defense.
That's the only doubt. If you're doing pros and cons, if Juke Harris is sitting at home with a whiteboard doing the pros and cons, you're making money. You're going to go up in draft stock. You're going to be in the best conference. You're going to win basketball games. Cons. You got to play defense. You got to play a lot of defense. You got to play defense for 40 minutes.
And more defense.
And then some more defense. Then you got to work hard. You got to play defense in practice.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you make a mistake out there on the court, you're going to come right out of the game and think about it, right there on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty quick with the trigger there. But anyway, we'll see what happens there, but it looks good with him right now. And hopefully they'll land him. The Lady Vols have wrapped up their recruiting out of the transfer portal and complete roster turnover. How you feel about it, Caleb? Is this a team that she can put together and get that program back on the right track?
I think it's a team. She put a team together in 23 days. I think the big thing for me is you get some proven SEC commodities. You got Harrison Kowalabi from Auburn, very good point guard. You got Fatama from Texas A&M, she's a good forward. You got Riley Turkoff from Georgia, who's a really good shooting guard. Mm-hmm. The problem is everything else around them, while there's some big names who have some good stats, a lot of players coming off of injury, a lot of players coming from the mid-major level. And like we've talked about already today in women's basketball, it's not the same as on the men's side. The jump from mid-major women's basketball to the SEC is massive. And I think that's a question mark is how they handle that jump. And I think another question mark is how the injured players come back. You got 2 or 3 players on this roster who have a history of knee injuries, and you're putting them on a team that wants to run and gun and run all over on the practice court. And then you mix that with the fact of, what is this going to look like? She's going to do it both ways. Kim Caldwell last year had the most talented roster, star ratings-wise and numbers-wise since probably this decade, probably since Holly Warlick was the head coach. And then she's also going to do it now with players she calls her players who have a chip on her shoulder, who fit the system perfectly. So she's going to, after the end of next season, she's going to have done it both ways. And so I think you'll have a clear picture of what the future will look like. But No, I think it's a team that has some size concerns, has some rebounding concerns, has some injury concerns. I mean, there's a lot of question marks. If everything clicks, it could be a competitive basketball team. But I think more than likely you're looking at probably results that are mid of the Southeastern Conference again.
I feel a lot more comfortable with Rick Barnes with his track record with the transfer portal than I probably do Kim Caldwell going into the trying to form a team in the transfer portal because of the inexperience she's had with that.
I agree. She hasn't. There's no track record at all, really. She hasn't shown you anything.
Exactly.
Nope. So
and
next year will
process,
be a proving record.
Because of NIL, because of the transfers, because it's basically a brand new team every year. And in her case, it's a 100% new team every year. But it's gone from what is kind of like fixing a banquet that you want to have ready in March to this is like chocolate chip cookies out of the bag. You want it to be a good bag because you're going to nibble on some of it, but you're going to put it in the oven in October and slow cook these things and hope that they come out right and not burned in February.
Yeah,
really.
But you don't know how any of these pieces are going to fit together in that recipe.
And I mean, there's at least one player last year, Harper Peterson from Stanford, hardly played with injury, and then you've got another one who probably won't play until January due to an ACL injury. So not only do you don't know how they'll fit together, how will they come along? I mean, you've got lots of injury rehab timelines here. What do those look like? And truthfully, I don't think we'll know what it looks like until March because you're taking mid-major players and you're not going to play really good competition probably until SEC play. So I think that's a question mark as well. I mean, they're going to be a smaller team height-wise than the top 4 teams in the SEC more than likely. I think the average height for Tennessee is around the 5'10", 5'11" mark. You look at teams like South Carolina, Texas, they're going to be more 6'2" average height. But again, had height last year, didn't rebound. So what's it going to look like this year? What are those stats going to look like this year? I think the biggest question will be how does it transfer? What you know for sure is this team can shoot threes, and they want to play fast and want to fit the system. So it'll just be a matter of what does it look like on the floor and can you outshoot some of the teams you're going to play. Because you're going to be disadvantaged from a height standpoint and from a star rating standpoint every time you take the floor.
And you're going to be, I think this is the one that's going to be underrated, but UT made an announcement, I believe it was yesterday or Thursday, and I think it has the most dramatic impact on the athletes, is that even though there are spaces where reserve lots on campus, where athletes can park, staff can park, that's all going to be compromised with the garage coming out.
Yeah.
When that garage comes out, student parking is going to be a mess. It will be a zoo all day.
Imagine that.
And I don't care what sign or precaution you have up, every lot is in every space will be fair game.
Oh, yeah.
And that includes at the practice facility.
Yeah, it's going to be like the Hunger Games trying to park. And
so that will, even if they are not going to class and they're just coming to practice, even if everything they're taking is online, it will still be a new challenge that no UT athlete has faced in quite a while.
How much you really got to wonder how much you want to get extra work in when you're going to have to fight for a parking spot just to go to the practice facility.
Well, they may the good side is they may be afraid to leave because they may never get a parking space again, so they may just stay there at Pratt Pavilion. But
I mean, it's only a matter of time until we find out, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, but I think that they talked about it yesterday from the perspective of parking for football and basketball, and I'm like, the biggest impact is on the day-to-day for the students.
None of it, while we're on the topic of tearing down the parking garage, none of the numbers add up because Athletic Director Danny White said the new parking garage will be bigger and better, but then when they send the plans to the Board of Trustees, it says the new parking garage only has 1,200 spots. Ooh. The current one has 1,800 spots that they're tearing down. So,
well, you've got one less level of parking. It's just going to have a bigger footprint, I believe. But the upper level is going to be where they have all of this additional retail and lodging and all of that. Plus, you got to carve out room for a hotel in there.
Yep. Hey, it's time for a break. When we return, it's the Boyd Sports Spotlight. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925. Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Boyd Sports Spotlight segment. Donnie Moore, what's going on, sports?
Well, we've got a few things that are going on. So it's almost time for the celebration at Indy. It's also it is time for the celebration at Churchill Downs today. People get to dress up and go to a horse race.
Yeah, they're going to have it sometime before dark, just right before dark.
Yeah.
It used to be like at 4:30, 5 o'clock,
or
4 or 5, and now it's gotten back to 7 o'clock.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, well, anyway, let's look at our sports headlines segment, brought to you, as always, by our friends at Fast Signs. Fast Signs, they're good to go whenever you are. So let's talk about the Derby for just a little bit. Kentucky Derby horses by post position and the morning line odds today. Okay, I had to go back and fix all those that I had yesterday because the odds have changed naturally. But starting at the number 1 post, and to today's favorite for the race is Renegade at 5-1, but I'm not picking Renegade.
He's in a horrible spot. That's a
He
horrible
is.
post.
He's over there
He's
against the
gonna get
rail.
squeezed.
The last horse that has won coming out of that number 1 post gate was Ferdinand in 1986. So it's been a while. The winner takes home $3.1 million. Second place, $1 million. Third place, $500,000, and fourth place, $250,000. That's the winner's purse. Mike Smith, 59 years of age, on So Happy, is set to be the oldest jockey ever if he wins.
He wins, yeah.
Yeah, oldest jockey ever, 59 years old. I'll give you a few of them going down right here.
Wait a minute before you get to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Who has been the oldest jockey to win it? You know?
Was it Shoemaker?
Shoemaker.
Yeah.
54.
54.
He was 54 years old.
Wow, Bill Shoemaker.
This guy's 5 years older than he is.
He sure is.
But he says he feels like a 30-year-old. I'm 75. I feel like a, I don't know, 25-year-old.
Well, that's
in
good.
My mind.
In your mind,
in
yeah.
your mind, yeah.
I hear you. Now, my body feels like it's
No,
about 74, but anyway.
We can't speak for his body.
No, absolutely not. So Renegade's in the number 1 slot, number 1 gate. Albus is in the number 2 gate at 50-1. Intrepido is starting at number 3 at 56-1. Litmus Test at 34-1 is in 4. The one that was in gate number 5 was Right to Party, and he scratched.
Right to Party.
Right to Party. Yeah, I might have voted.
He partied too long.
I might have picked him.
He partied too long, and he had to scratch him, huh?
Mm-hmm. Commandment is 7-1 coming out of the 6th gate. Dannon Bourbon at 74-1 coming out of the 7. Number 8, So Happy, that we mentioned a minute ago, that Mike Smith is aboard. Only 6-1 odds, so he could win this thing according to the odds makers. Number 9 gate was the Puma who was scratched. He was a 10-1 odds this morning. Wonder Dean at 10, coming out at 20-1. Incredibolt. Now, that's a great name for a horse, I think. Incredibolt. But he's at 27-1, coming out of 11. Chief Wallaby is in the 12th slot, ridden by Junior Alvarado, who was last year's Derby winner.
That's my horse.
Yeah, it's a good one. 9-1 odds, too. So he's got a good shot at winning this thing. Number 13, a scratch, Silent Tactic. Number 14, Potente at 23-1. Number 15 is the horse that I'm going to pick, Emerging Market at 11-1. That's my pick. Pavlovian coming off at 16 at 52-1. 17 is Six Speed. It's a pretty good name for a horse, too. Six Speed at 40-1. Number 18, Further Ado at 7-1. And number 19, Golden Tempo at 36-1. Number 20 is a scratch, Full Effort. And number 21, Great White. I hope that's a light-colored horse. Otherwise, it's a shark. 29-1 for Great White. Ocelli is 22 at 50-1, and Robusta is also 50-1, coming out of the gate, number 23. You know, a lot of things could happen in this race. It's a mile and a half. If the weather's good, which it's looking like it should be, then, you know, it should be a fast race. But they call it fastest 2 minutes in sports.
Yeah, that's what they say.
That's what they say, anyway.
Yeah, mile and a quarter track.
Mile and a quarter. Yeah.
Mile and a quarter.
Yeah.
I think it's the shortest
Mile
track
and a
in
quarter.
the Triple Crown.
It is, yeah.
But it's a longer track than what the horses have been running so far.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure your horse has some stamina to make
That's right.
it.
They got to have some wind, don't they? Well, anyway, you guys want to take a pick?
Go ahead.
I've got Chief Wallaby, the Bay Colt, who was born February 6, 2023. I think Junior Alvarado goes back-to-back.
There you go.
It's the same trainer and
He could
jockey
do it.
combo that won last year.
Okay.
He could do it.
Yeah.
Marcus, you
You know,
going to venture a pick?
I was so looking forward to going with Silent Tactic because it feels like that should be a horse that the Let It Rip segment sponsors.
Yeah.
But and then I was looking at Chief Wallaby, but I had a hard time thinking that I would put money on a shoe. So I am reverting to my secret fandom for the Dungeon Crawler Carl series and going with Potente.
Potente at 23-1. Wow, if he wins, you could make some big money right there, Marcus.
And I will get everything I deserve for that bet.
I got you. Well, those are the
You
horses.
haven't gone to me yet.
Oh yeah, Mike, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't know a thing about horses. I don't know a darn thing about horses. And Kentucky Derby is one of those horse races. It's the first one of the Triple Crown. And usually all the prognosticators are off the mark. You know?
Yeah, really.
So I'll tell you what. The best I can come up with, Kentucky is the capital of bourbon. It's
It
the
is
state.
indeed.
It's the world producer. They're known for their bourbon. I'm taking Dannon.
Dannon bourbon.
Dannon
Dannon
bourbon.
or Dannon, I don't know.
Dannon
bourbon. At 74-1.
74-1, man.
Woo.
I'm calling.
But you have enough bourbon, and
I'm
that seems
calling
like a
Calvin
smart idea.
Burrell to substitute to get on that horse.
Calvin Borrell.
Yeah, on the
Get
rail.
him,
Burrell,
get him out
buddy.
there.
That's who I got right there.
Nice.
I got bourbon.
Well, there's your picks for the Kentucky Derby going off at 3 minutes shy of 7 p.m. tonight. The NASCAR Cup Series heads to Talladega Superspeedway for the 2026 Jack Links 500 on Sunday, with Brad Keselowski having collected 6 wins at the famed track. The race covers 188 laps from flag to flag, and the green one drops at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The estate of late NASCAR driver Greg Biffle is the target of 2 lawsuits filed in North Carolina after a plane crash near Statesville on December 18, 2025, took the lives of the Biffle family and 3 more passengers. The 2 suits seek $15 million each in damages from the estate from the other people who were killed. $30 million if they're successful. David Benavidez, 29-year-old, 2-time world champion. He's 31-0 with 25 knockouts. He is set to challenge current WBA and WBC cruiserweight champ, Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez. And he's 48-1 with 30 KOs. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Benavidez has said that he is on the verge of becoming, quote, the face of boxing. I don't believe I'd have said that, but that's what he says anyway. According to USA Today, the top 7 U.S. high schools in which to play sports. If you want to be a sports star, go to one of these high schools, according to USA Today.
Are these public schools or private schools?
Either.
Either, okay.
Yeah. Number 7 is Macaulay School in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Coming in at 7. A pretty good plug right there. Number 6, with 18 different sports, is Gonzaga College High School in Washington, D.C. Number 5, Xavier College Preparatory Roman Catholic High School. Boy, that's a mouthful. Xavier College Preparatory Roman Catholic High School. In Phoenix, Arizona, they have 18 different sports. Number 4 is Bishop Hendricken High School in Warwick, Rhode Island. And number 3, Christopher Columbus High School in Miami. Number 2, St. John's Prep School in Danvers, Massachusetts. St. John's Prep. They have 22 different sports. And in number 1 position, St. Thomas Aquinas High School in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, with 30 different sports.
No IMG Academy.
Nope, not on there, is it?
They must put that list must put a lot of weight in some of the smaller
Olympic sports.
Yeah, it could be.
Because there's, no
be.
Georgia schools and
Yeah.
no IMG tells you that
noticed
football
that.
was not carrying the weight on that
Football
ball.
is not king. Well, things that happened on this day in history in sports on May the 2nd, 1909, the Pirates' Honus Wagner steals his way around the bases in the first inning versus the Cubs. He got on, stole second, stole third, stole home.
Wow. Anybody else done that?
I'm not sure. I've never heard of it. 1923, Washington Senators Walter Johnson pitches his 100th shutout, 3-0 over the New York Yankees. 100 shutouts. 1933, New York Yankee Lou Gehrig, everybody knows that name, sits out a game versus the Tigers, which ended his 2,130-game streak of playing ball. Wow. 1941, Ted Williams' batting average hits the low point of the season at .308, but he finishes the year over 400.
Unbelievable.
Can you imagine?
That's one of those records that I don't know whether anybody can do that again.
I don't either.
I mean, been a lot of great players come down the pike.
Oh yeah.
That's done of hitting 400, and of course DiMaggio's hitting streak. What was it, 56 games?
No wonder they called Williams the splendid splinter.
Yeah, he was a great hitter.
He sure was. Moving on to a little bit of an NHL props here. The 1967 Toronto's Terry Sawchuk makes 40 saves in one hockey contest versus the Canadiens, Montreal Canadiens. 1970, Diane Crump. Know that name? She was the first woman jockey at the Kentucky Derby. Diane Crump.
What year was that?
1970.
Okay.
1988, Reds manager Pete Rose suspended for 30 games for pushing an umpire. Shoving an umpire.
What did he do, push him into the bookie?
He must have. 1999, John Elway announces his retirement from the NFL. 2009, going back to the Derby, Calvin Borrell wins the Derby on 50-1 long shot. Mind That Bird.
Mind That Bird.
Remember Mind That Bird?
Yeah, they made a movie about it.
They sure did.
Yeah, it was a great movie.
He ran dead last until the final turn.
Yeah, the people that owned that, they just came to the Derby to have a good time. The horse was, qualified up in Canada or somewhere.
Yeah.
They ended up with a horse, and what was funny about it is all the women went to Kmart to buy their clothes and their bonnets, and that's a great story, And he didn't have a ride. He just they brought the horse. I don't even know if they had a jockey for the horse.
I'm not sure they did either.
Yeah, they brought the horse all the way from out west somewhere in a trailer, and they were low budget. Let's put it that way.
No kidding. And can you imagine running last until the final turn and coming back making a kick to win?
Yeah, he just put it right down on the rail.
Oh, man.
And
Calvin Borrell.
The great thing about that he didn't have any teeth. And when he won that race, he was in the money. The next year, I think he won again, had a whole set of teeth.
He got new teeth.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The check cashed.
Yeah.
A couple of birthdays of note on this day. 1975, David Beckham, English superstar and club owner, born in London, England. David Beckham. And birthday today, 1985, Kyle Busch, NASCAR Cup Series champ in 2015, born in Las Vegas. So happy birthday to those two. A couple of deaths on this day. Let's let you know about. 2012 died on this day Junior Seau, Hall of Fame linebacker, 12-time Pro Bowler, 6-time All-Star, 1992 Defensive Player of the Year, played for the San Diego Chargers. Died of suicide at 43. So that's sad. And 2021 died on this day Bobby Unser, won the Indy 500 in 1968.
Uncle Bobby.
1975 and 1981 also won the 500. Died at the age of 87.
Yeah, I got an interesting story about him. We have to walk quite a ways to get to the track, because parking's not very good.
Oh, yeah, right.
Well, the people I walk with,
Sounds like going to class at Tennessee.
The people I walk to the track with are friends with somebody that had a motor home, and they would park it right outside the fourth turn up there. Well, Bobby Unser got to know them and be friends with them, so every year Bobby was at the race, he would walk down Georgetown Road to their camping trailer at night, and they'd have a fire going there, and Bobby would have his suspenders on and his plaid shirt and his overalls, and he'd walk down Georgetown, 3-time winner of the Indy 500. Nobody even knew who he was. And he would sit down there and drink beer and eat hot dogs and hamburgers and so forth. And I remember when he passed away that year, when we went by the trailer and talked with folks, and they said that, it just wasn't the same without him, coming by there and talking the night before and so forth. But he was kind of the life of the party.
I'd like to have been in on that, sitting around that fire.
Yeah, he was a good one. A colorful guy. He was on the broadcasts on TV for years and so forth. But anyway.
Well, all right. Thanks, guys. That's all for this week's Sports Headlines, brought to you, as always, by Fast Signs. I'm Donnie Moore. Back to you, Gunner.
Yeah, now, while we're on racing, I've got a few things here.
All right.
This past week, the racing fraternity lost Alex Zanardi.
That's right.
59 years old, and he was a former IndyCar and kart driver. And
good driver.
And he passed away, and his racing career came to an end when he lost his legs in a racing accident in Germany. And then he went to Special Olympics and performed in those types of things in his wheelchair and so forth. And great driver and very personable and so forth. But hate to see him move on. But Alex Zanardi passed away age of 59 last week. And then another driver, Merle Bentonhausen, part of the Bentonhausen family. He passed away at 83. He didn't really have much of a career in IndyCar because he was involved in an accident early in his career in which he lost his arm. But the Bentonhausen family, I think he's the last one. There was Tony Sr. and Tony Jr. and Gary and Merle, and Tony Sr. lost his life at Indianapolis.
Right.
Testing the car for his friend Paul Russo.
Yes.
Went out early 60s there, went out, I think it was the day before qualifications, and I think Tony had the fastest speed. You know, he looked like he was going to get the pole, and Paul was having trouble getting his car up to speed. He went out and tried to help him out with his car and lost his life on the main straightaway. And then Tony Jr. married Jim McElree's daughter, and they were at a function up here at Bristol.
Oh.
And they left Bristol on their jet, and that jet had a problem, and they crashed on the way back to Indianapolis, and he lost his life. And then Gary had a pretty good career. Tony Jr. was also in several 500-mile races, and Tony Sr. also. And Gary almost won the 1972 race. I mean, he was driving Penske, and he led almost all of that race except the last, 15 or 20 laps, and his car quit on him, and such is history.
Oh, boy.
Such is history, and Mark Donahue drove right on into victory lane and in a Penske car. But kind of a sad deal that all the Bentonhausens are basically gone. Gone now. Great racing family. They did last week at Indianapolis. They had open tests for Indy cars, getting ready for the month of May on the 28th and 29th, and it was interesting. K.O. Collett, who drives for A.J. Foyt, a rookie, was the top speed getter, 226.381 miles an hour, rookie.
Talented rookie.
Yeah, Joseph Newgarden was second with Penske. Connor Daly was third. Alex Palou was fourth. Helio Castroneves was fifth. Pato O'Ward was sixth. Takuma Sato was seventh. Scott Dixon was eighth. David Malukas ninth on the speed charts, and Alexander Rossi was 10th. And what's kind of unique about that is almost a third of those drivers aren't regulars on the IndyCar circuit. Connor Daly is driving with Dreyer Reinbold, and Dreyer Reinbold is an interesting story. They only enter cars for the Indianapolis 500. Every year, Dreyer Reinbold enters 2 cars for the 500. Connor Daly's got one of those cars, and right now he's third on the charts with that car. Helio Castroneves with Meyer Shank, he's not on the regular circuit, and neither is Takuma Sato, who is with Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan, and Sato, 2-time winner of the Indianapolis 500. But going to be an interesting race this year. They've got 9 former winners, so a third of the field are former winners in this year's Indianapolis 500. And next week they will have the Grand Prix of Indianapolis leading up to the race.
Does everybody do the road race next week?
All the regulars.
Yeah.
All the regular drivers, not all of the 33 that's in the 500. Some of those are one and offs. Hunter Ray, he doesn't drive in the regular, but he's going to drive in the 500. So
I remember when we were down at Barber a few years ago on our nice road trip that we had for the sports page. Yeah, you'd see Takuma Sato ride through the pit area on his 2-wheeled scooter.
Hard to get him to stop.
I know.
Hard autograph with that guy. He just kind of drives right by you and smiles. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, but,
that was a good.
Should be interesting. It looks like it's going to be a sellout. Going to be a sellout for the 500. I don't know, 320,000. No, 240,000. 240,000 seats.
Suffice it to say, a lot.
Another 100,000 on the infield. So you're getting up there in 400,000 numbers.
Good grief.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we will. All right.
Time to take a break, and we'll be back to close out today's show. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.net.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern. This is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, and I'm here along with Donnie Moore, Marcus Fitzsimmons, and Caleb Giroux. And Donnie, I wanted to mention about that test last week. They had a driver hit a bird.
Really?
Yes, and that could have been a problem because
sure
they have the shields now,
Right.
the shield protectors, and
Right.
it hit that. If they didn't, it probably hit him right in his.
Right.
If you're going 240 miles an hour down the backstretch, that might smart a little bit.
No kidding.
And they had a fox run out on the track.
Oh, goodness.
So they had two things. That's kind
How
of.
lost was that fox?
I don't know, but it didn't get hit. But now listen. The 500 is sort of around a wildlife preserve. They have the golf course and they have a kind of a small lake or pond there on the infield as part of the golf course where you got Canadian geese, and they got a lot of birds and wildlife and on the other side of the track, outside the track, and I guess they. That's not a good thing. It's not a good thing to be going the speeds they're going and having wildlife out there running around.
Absolutely not
on the racetrack. Anyway,
goodness,
I want to throw that in because of all the years I've been around it, I've never known anything to be out there. That'd make me a little bit nervous.
Would they
would
stop
be
the
too.
race? Like if somebody ran over a squirrel, would they stop the race to get to peel the squirrel off the track?
They probably would not. They would throw a yellow flag, and the safety crew would come out there, and
I'd say you're right.
They would issue last rites, and then they would dispose of whatever wildlife was out there. The only thing I ever saw on the track was one year in '73 during a rain delay, the possum got out there. And that possum was dodging fire trucks. It was trying to other trucks.
That's
it was
great.
trying to dry the track out by going around the deal. So anyway.
Oh, that'd been great if they'd caught the possum on fire.
Yeah. That was the only way they had dry track back in those days, was just run vehicles
Yeah,
around.
just run them around.
Now they've got blowers and they can
F1 runs the cars around too.
Yeah.
When it's wet.
Yeah.
Make them do a ton of warm-up laps.
Yeah. I got a couple things here on the Kentucky Derby. It's what I like about the Kentucky Derby and the Indianapolis 500 are all the traditions. All the traditions they have. The flyover at the 500,
major league
and the
traditions.
back home again in Indiana, and the military stuff that they have, the parachuters. And
Mint juleps.
Mint juleps.
Yeah, and at the Kentucky Derby you have some of the deals at the Derbies, the mint juleps. You got the plane of my old Kentucky home, the hats, riders up, number of horses in the field. It always has a lot of horses compared to the Preakness and the Belmont. And then who can forget Chick Anderson? The guy that used to. And down the stretch they come.
Yes, he was colorful.
Yes.
I'm telling you.
You miss those guys. And
Sure.
same thing with the Indy 500. Tom Carnegie was the announcer there on site for years and years and years, over 50 or 55 years anyway, and then you had Jim Neighbors singing Back Home Again in Indiana. He was always there, and you miss those people, when they're not there anymore and they're gone.
That's
but,
true, you do.
If we're looking at the Kentucky Derby, and all you guys seem to have a little bit of insight in horses, I don't have much of insight at all, but out of all those traditions at the Kentucky Derby, and I'm sure I don't have all of them listed, but Donnie, I'll start with you. What do you like the best out of what they do there?
I like the post parade, and I know they have it at other tracks too. But when those horses come around that track and they're all shaking, they're showing off for the crowd. I think that's an awesome thing.
You mean when they parade them in front of the grandstand?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Bringing them out of the stables and bringing them in there?
Yeah, they call that the post parade, and I think that's a great tradition.
Yeah. How about you, Martin?
I'll be nice. I was going to be somewhat cruel, but I won't. Believe it or not, I'm a fan of the hats.
You're a fan of the hats?
I am a fan of the hats.
Cool.
I think it.
I've only ever seen you wear the same hat, though.
This is true. I do not have the hair for it. but and I will tell you, my favorite years are the year it rains, because you can start separating out from the camera views. You can separate out the Kentucky Derby veterans who are all there year in, year out, from the women who are making their first or second trip to the Derby, because the veterans know to stay away from being right up against the track at any point, lest their beautiful dress be covered in mud.
Yes.
So I enjoy the people watching aspect. I don't enjoy the pre-races as much, but I enjoy the people watching aspect of it.
I got an interesting story. When we went to the 500, there was a guy that went with us, and he was a big horse guy, Derby and Belmont. He went to all of them, sold insurance, and his wife had to have a hat every year. And he kept saying, well, why don't you wear the same hat every year? I mean, these people are not going to know the difference. She had to have a different hat every year.
Oh,
well,
my
these
goodness.
hats aren't easy to find.
No.
You got to go. You got to go. She had to go to England to get her hat.
Oh, man.
To pick her hat at, and it had to be shipped over here to the United States for the Derby. So I don't know where they get all these elaborate hats that they have here, but that's the story I got on his wife's hat, and it was costing him a little bit of money. Those weren't cheap hats that they were getting over there.
I'd say if you're a milliner, this makes your year.
Yeah.
Or maybe your career.
Considering how few time events require their services
Right,
anymore,
exactly.
yes, this is their year.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if he ever won any of the if his horse ever won a Derby, but he probably just broke even, with that hat. What those things cost. But Caleb,
Goodness, I can
I like
imagine.
the roses. Call it the run of the
I
roses.
didn't have that one. That's a good one.
Put the roses
Yeah.
on the horse. Here's one I read last night. I didn't think was true. I had to double check. Thought it was AI. There's a steamboat race every year.
They're at the Derby.
Yeah, down the Ohio River.
Really?
Yep. And so guess the
Nice.
steamboat race winner this year was the Belle of Louisville. It's her 32nd victory.
Wow.
Goodness.
And
How many boats are in the race at this point?
I don't know. Apparently, the Belle of Cincinnati crossed the finish line first, but the Belle of Louisville was named winner by the judges for going further.
Wow.
This is a dramatic rivalry between the Cincinnati and the Louisville
Wow.
steamboats.
So it's the two steamboats racing.
Yep.
Okay.
On the Wednesday before the Derby, it's a 2-hour race, and they win a silver antlers trophy.
Wow.
Silver antlers.
And you can buy tickets to
Nice.
ride on the boats in the race.
Do you have to help row?
It's a steamboat.
No, it's a steamboat. They got a big
Is that-
paddle
what
wheel
is it,
or
cheating
stern,
to
or
help?
side wheeler. It's either a stern wheeler or a side wheeler.
Well, I'm just asking if it's cheating to help row and
Do
give
they-
them some
I
speed.
think they might have you
If you
shovel
could
some
reach the
coal or
water.
something.
Do they serve a meal on those boats while they're going?
I'd say libations especially.
What about this boat over here? Is it in it? That we got the a river boat over here at Knoxville. that
Yeah, the
runs
Star
up-
of Knoxville.
Yeah, is it in that?
I don't know. It doesn't
say.
say.
I think
think
it's
you have
just.
to
I
be
think it's
invited.
just the two. I would hope it's just the two.
It'd be a long trip
No, there's
up-
been some
up
other
the
ones.
rivers.
Delta Queen won the first race in 1963.
Delta Queen.
But then it's just been Belle of Louisville and Delta Queen.
I mean, you can
Okay.
only get so many river boats on a river at one time.
in 2005, the Delta
Especially if they're
Queen,
racing.
the Delta Queen had to forfeit because it could not come to Louisville due to high water levels.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I like.
That's awesome.
I like my old Kentucky home.
Oh, I do too.
I think that just, the horses are there.
Yeah,
they're
that's-
coming out. They're playing old Kentucky home, and kind of runs chills up your back. They're showing the stands, and people are trying to sing it. They can't sing
Yeah, I
it.
know.
Their lips are moving. They're trying to remember the words. They're not remembering the words, and I think that's a very colorful and exciting moment when they play that. Even though they've changed the words to that song, a lot
They
of people think that's the same song that was it Stephen Foster that wrote the song.
Stephen Foster.
They've
Made it politically correct.
They've made it political,
Or more so,
They've made
anyway.
it political correct, but regardless of that, it's.
What is it now? My new Lexington condo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they play that My Old Kentucky Home, I believe, at the Kentucky basketball games, don't they? Isn't that
Yeah, they do.
Kind of
And
their
they-
deal.
And before the game, they play a video of horses and stuff.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Nice.
And they
Who-
play the.
Who was the? Happy Chandler. Happy Chandler. Remember, he was the
Yeah.
governor, and then he was the commissioner of baseball,
Yes.
and came down on Leo DeRocher and spending for him a year and so forth and so on. If you'll go to YouTube, one of his things is he always wanted to sing My Old Kentucky Home at an event. So they brought him back to a Kentucky basketball game on senior night, and he sung My Old Kentucky Home. It's on YouTube. You listeners out there, pull that deal up.
Check it out.
He's not too bad. He's not too bad, you know, for a guy that, you know, was living a dream. You know, he was able to do that. But I think of him singing that My Old Kentucky Home, and one year at the Indy 500, and I was there, they had a former driver sing that Back Home Again in Indiana.
Yeah.
Peter DiPaolo.
Okay.
It was the worst rendition of Back Home Again in Indiana you have ever heard in your life. And nobody ever mentions that much. But he's the only former driver that's ever sang that song before the 500. Of course, he won the race back in the 20s. And that's been some time ago. I guess it's probably sometime in the 70s that he sung that. But it
wow.
He didn't sound like Hap Chandler by any stretch of the imagination. A lot better driver than he was a singer, Apollo was.
Or Jim Neighbors, for that matter.
Let's go around the table here. The horse that's won the Derby that gave you the biggest thrill or made an impression on you?
I remember the time that we talked about earlier when Calvin Burrell rode Mind That Bird.
Yeah, that was a big moment.
And just the fact that he just blew away the field in the final turn just amazed me. So, you know, that's pretty talented even for a horse. And a horse horse is a horse, of course.
Yeah, that was odds against odds, that deal.
Yes, it was.
Pretty much. Marcus?
I don't have a good one for a horse, for the one that just stuck with me. I mean,
I
they
figured
kind
you'd
of blur
probably
at
say
some point.
Mr. Ed or something.
No,
Huh?
no. Like there just hasn't been one that it doesn't stick with me like some events do. I mean, and I think it's because it's the first one, so you never like when you see that race, you don't know that's the Triple Crown winner. That's the horse that's going to be able to do that.
Yeah,
you don't know that.
Right.
So I'm much more likely to remember at the third race and be like, yes, I remember this Triple Crown winner than I do at the Kentucky Derby. So they just don't stick with me as well.
Yeah.
Just because
Understandable.
they're the first one.
Caleb, you're a young guy.
Yeah, I don't have an
you
answer.
don't have
Last year was the first one I paid attention to because I sat in here and y'all made me pick a horse. So I had to go and root for my horse, and he did not win. So
You know, when he made his pick today, you would have thought he'd been following horse racing for over 30 years.
Yeah.
well, hey, I came ready. I was prepared today.
He did his
I did my
homework.
homework. Last year, y'all were like, all right, let's pick a horse. I don't even know who's racing. but
Yeah.
I do like the mud. I think I would like the mud races too.
I have
Last
to,
year was muddy.
I have to say our horse racing segments have dropped off significantly without Ray here to help us.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. We miss you, Ray.
Yeah. I think the one that I remember the most, Secretariat.
Oh, gosh,
Because, you know, Secretariat just lined up in the field, and it was, you know,
Battle for second.
Am I using the right word, Donnie? The owners syndicated the horse.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot riding on the line.
Exactly.
And they were bringing out that story, but there was another great horse in the field. You know, going against Secretariat, and, of course, Secretariat had lost some races before it got to the Derby. And then there you go. It won the Derby and picked up some momentum, and it started getting publicity and more publicity as the thing, and ended up a Triple Crown winner.
Yep.
Winning the Belmont by, I don't know, it seemed like half the track. It wasn't half
Going
the track.
away.
It wasn't half the track, but it was almost like it was all alone out there. Let's put it that
Definitely.
way. But anyway, great times at the Derby, and hopefully they'll have a great race up there today and carry on the tradition. Is it time to go, Donnie?
It
Listen,
is.
I appreciate it. Very good to see you, Caleb, there this morning.
Yeah,
and
great show
all of
today,
you,
guys.
and enjoyed having all of you here this morning.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, that'll do it for today's edition of the GoTeez Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishmael back at Loud Media, our host, the Bluetick Tavern, and all our sponsors. For Donnie Moore, Marcus Fitzsimmons, and Caleb Giroux, until next Saturday, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, wishing everyone good sports.
And that's the final whistle. Join us again next Saturday for the GoTeez Sports Page. The best in local sports since 1978.